Hi everyone, welcome back to Fleecimals Friday. I'm Michelle with Fleecimals, and this week we are going to be continuing a little journey from last week with laminated keychains. So in last week's video, I showed you how to print and cut using the Cricut, but with less waste than the standard print and cut. So definitely go check it out up above. And in today's video, we're going to be turning them into these cute little laminated keychains. So definitely come along for the ride. And if you haven't seen the last video, go check it out. It'll all make more sense. So we are all set up from the last video, and we have our laminator hot and ready. We have all of our little pieces already cut, and we have a laminating paper ready. So with this laminating, we have a full detailed video, which you can see up above, with how to laminate bookmarks. So definitely go check that out for details on how to laminate, but we are going to go through pretty basic steps today. So I'm going to just open this up like a book, and essentially anything that's on this one side is where we can place our little guys. So since we will be hole punching these and adding little key rings, we need to make sure that we have a little bit of a head space, about this much above each keychain for that little piece. So I'm gonna start placing them and try to leave a little bit of space, and it may take some rearranging. I also want to be sure there's at least 1/4 of an inch between each.
Why is that?
Well, we'll be cutting them out by hand, so I like to leave myself just a little bit of extra space for this. Squeak in a lobster there. I do find that the laminating paper is bigger than the actual sheet of paper we printed these on, so that definitely helps with laying them out. And we also have lost a lot of paper because we've trimmed these out, so that helps too. And they also don't have to all be right side up. They can all be upside down if you have the room. I don't know if someone will fit in here. The lobster will. But I'm not going to push it. I'm going to take both of these out. Do somebody different. Also helpful not to get any stray hairs on these pieces because they do have a lot of static electricity. As you can see, we've already filled about maybe 3/4 of this piece of paper, and we only have a couple left, so we'll be able to space things out a little bit more generously. Alright, now that we have these all placed, I'm just going to double check for any little spots of either hair or dust that got stuck. And we are going to close this very carefully. You don't want any of them to really move too much, so you might have to adjust. Okay, now very carefully, keeping it as flat as possible, we're going to insert it into our laminator. And very carefully, once the laminator grabs the bottom, it'll start to guide everything through. I didn't have it low enough. Another reason for having them spaced so much apart is in case they move a little bit when you do laminate. Alright, and that is our sheet. It looks pretty clear. There is one little bubble here, but we'll be cutting around it, so I'm not too worried. If you do end up getting a bubble in a piece that you can't cut around, I would recommend putting your laminator on a lower heat setting and possibly putting it through again. Just be very careful. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is start cutting them out. Now, I did consider doing this via the Cricut as well, but since there's really no perfect science of laying these out and then cutting them, I decided that it's probably just easier to print and cut to laminate and then cut myself. So I'm going to start with this little frog guy, and I'm just going to start cutting around with about 1/8 of an inch, maybe less, of space around. Get his giant eyeballs in there. And then with him, I'm just gonna leave a little bump of clear plastic in the middle. For our keychain. Now when you do a craft like this, you will end up with a lot of little pieces of plastic, so just be sure to keep them aside and toss them when you're done. So now that we have our first little guy and he's got some room, we are going to take a hole punch. Now this hole punch is 1/8 of an inch hole. I know that most people at their homes have 1/4 of an inch. These are pretty easy to find and pretty standard as well. And then we're gonna just carefully hole punch in the plastic, but not into the paper. So I have these little key rings. I got them online. I found them in fun colors. They are available at different stores. And I'm just gonna feed this little guy through. And that's how we're gonna continue. So I'm gonna keep on cutting and I will catch you in a bit. Well, it's been a day. So we have all of these cut out, and each of these has a little piece on top to hole punch, so I'm going to do those. And I also have laid out one of each of my key rings to match the color of the print. hope you enjoyed this Fleecimals Friday project where we made these cute little keychains. Be sure to like and subscribe, especially if you've been here and you've been watching for a couple of videos, or even if this is just your first. And leave a comment down below for any other different video ideas you want to see us make, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!